Social media did something nobody expected. It gave women a platform to reveal exactly who they are when they think nobody's watching. Every tweet, every TikTok, every Instagram story, they're telling on themselves at a rate that's absolutely staggering. The mask isn't just slipping anymore, it's completely off. And what's underneath? Years of emotional debt, unresolved trauma and entitlement that they expect you to pay for. Let me show you what women are accidentally revealing about themselves and why this changes everything about modern dating. Here's what's happening right now. Women are publicly bragging about things that would have destroyed their reputation 20 years ago. Body counts in the dozens, cheating stories, manipulation tactics, gold-digging strategies. They're posting it all for likes and validation. They think they're being empowered and honest. What they're actually doing is showing men exactly why they should run. I saw a TikTok yesterday. This woman, probably 32, divorced, 2 kids, making a video about how her new boyfriend needs to heal her trauma from her ex. She literally said, out loud, on camera, that it's his job to fix the damage another man caused. And the comments? Thousands of women agreeing. Yes, queen, he should be grateful for the chance. If he can't handle your trauma, he doesn't deserve you. This is emotional debt and women are drowning in it. Every bad relationship, every pump and dump, every situationship that didn't work out, it all accumulates into this massive emotional burden that they carry into new relationships. But here's the kicker, they expect you to pay off this debt. You didn't create it, you weren't there, but somehow it's your responsibility to fix it. Let me tell you about a client of mine. Good guy, successful, met this woman who seemed perfect. 3 months in, she starts unloading. Her ex was abusive. The guy before that cheated. The guy before that wouldn't commit. Suddenly he's got to prove he's different, constantly reassure her, basically pay for the sins of every man who came before him. He's not dating her, he's dating her entire sexual history. 0305. The casual sex epidemic created a generation of emotionally bankrupt women. They spent their 20s getting ran through by guys who didn't give a shit about them. They confused sexual attention with love, orgasms with intimacy, texting with connection. Now they're 30-something, bitter as fuck and looking for someone to blame. Guess who that is? The good man who actually wants to commit. You know what's really twisted? These women know they're damaged. They know their ability to pair bond is destroyed. They know they're carrying massive baggage. But instead of working on themselves, they've reframed it as, you need to accept me as I am. No, sweetheart. Nobody needs to accept your bullshit. Your trauma is your responsibility, not your next boyfriend's. The entitlement is off the charts. These women genuinely believe that after spending a decade giving their best years to men who wouldn't commit, they deserve a perfect husband who will heal all their wounds. They think some man should show up, ignore their past, fix their problems, raise their kids, and be grateful for the opportunity. The delusion is breathtaking. Social media made it worse. Now they have echo chambers telling them their emotional debt is actually experience and growth, that their bitterness is boundaries, that their inability to trust is being careful. They've created an entire language to avoid accountability. It's not damage, it's journey. It's not baggage, it's story. Here's what they don't tell you. Every casual relationship leaves a scar. Every time they gave their body to someone who didn't value them, it carved out a piece of their soul. By the time they're ready to settle down, they're hollow. They've got nothing left to give. They're emotionally maxed out, running on fumes, trying to build something real with counterfeit feelings. The sexual marketplace taught them to use their bodies as currency. In their 20s, that currency had value. They could get attention, validation, even commitment from high-value men, temporarily. But they spent it all on men who didn't stick around. Now they're 35, the currency is devalued, and they're pissed that their sexual credit score is shit. I see this pattern constantly. Woman rides the carousel for 15 years, racks up massive emotional debt, then meets a nice guy and expects him to refinance her entire emotional history. She wants him to pay premium prices for what she gave away for free. She wants investment banker commitment for OnlyFans behaviour. The math doesn't work, but they're too entitled to see it. The manipulation tactics are incredible. They'll trauma dump early to test if you'll be their emotional janitor. They'll create problems that don't exist to see if you'll solve them. They'll push boundaries to see if you'll hold frame. And if you don't play along, if you don't accept their emotional debt, You're emotionally unavailable and can't handle a real woman. Real woman? No. You're a collection of unresolved issues in a dress. A real woman would handle her own emotional debt before entering a new relationship. A real woman wouldn't expect a man to pay for damage he didn't cause. A real woman would take accountability for her choices instead of demanding someone else fix the consequences. The abuse dynamics are insane. These women will literally punish their current boyfriend for things their ex did. He doesn't text back immediately? Triggered, because her ex ignored her. Goes out with friends? Triggered, because her ex cheated. He sets boundaries? Triggered, because her ex was controlling. The man can't win because he's not competing with her. He's competing with the ghost of dick past. And God forbid you bring up their past. Ask about their body count? You're insecure. Question why all their exes were narcissists? You're victim blaming. Point out patterns in their relationship history? You're judgmental. They want you to ignore their past while simultaneously paying for it. It's emotional taxation without representation. The validation addiction is the worst part. These women spent so many years seeking validation through sex that they can't function without constant attention. They need hundreds of likes, dozens of matches, continuous reassurance. One man's attention isn't enough because they're used to having hundreds. They're attention junkies and you're expected to be their dealer. Social media reveals this perfectly. Watch a woman in a relationship still posting thirst traps, still seeking validation from strangers, still keeping orbiters on standby. She can't stop because the addiction is too strong. She needs that dopamine hit of male attention, even if it destroys her relationship. And when it does, it's somehow your fault for being insecure. The psychological damage from the carousel is permanent. These women can't bond properly. They've trained their brains to seek novelty, to never be satisfied, to always look for the next upgrade. They compare every man to an amalgamation of the best traits of every man they've been with. You're not competing with one ex. You're competing with a Frankenstein's monster of 20 different guys. But here's what's really happening. They're realizing their strategy failed. The plan was simple. Fuck hot guys while young. Lock down a provider when older. But the hot guys pumped and dumped them, and the providers are waking up to the game. Now they're stuck between the men they want who won't commit and the men who would commit that they don't want. The bitterness this creates is toxic. They're mad at hot guys for not committing, mad at average guys for not being hot, mad at themselves for their choices but unable to admit it. So they project all this anger onto whatever man is stupid enough to date them. He becomes the punching bag for a decade of bad decisions. Modern dating apps made this worse. Women can now rack up emotional debt at unprecedented rates. 50 first dates in a year, hundreds of matches, dozens of situationships, each one adding to the debt, each one making them less capable of real connection. By the time they're ready for something serious, they're emotionally bankrupt. The transactional mindset is revealing. They gave away sex for free when they had leverage. Now they want commitment for free when they don't. They see relationships as trades, not partnerships. What can you do for me? What do you bring to the table? How can you fix my problems? Never what they can offer, always what they can extract. I counsel men who are dealing with this constantly. They meet a woman, think she's great, and slowly realize they're just an emotional cleanup crew. Their job isn't to be loved, it's to repair damage. Their role isn't partner, it's therapist. Their purpose isn't building something together, it's paying off her emotional credit cards. The accountability allergy is real. These women will do mental gymnastics to avoid taking responsibility for their choices. Every bad relationship was the man's fault. Every failure was circumstances, every consequence was unfair. They're never the common denominator in their own disasters. It's always someone else's fault. You want to know the real tell? Ask a woman about her exes. If they're all assholes, narcissists, abusers, run. Either she has the worst judgment in history, or she's the problem. Probably both. A woman who can't say one good thing about any ex is telling you exactly how she'll talk about you when it's over. The exceptions exist, but they're rare. Some women genuinely learn from their mistakes, do the work, heal their trauma. But they're not on TikTok bragging about their body count. They're not demanding men fix them. They're quietly working on themselves, taking accountability, becoming better. These women are gold, but good luck finding them in the modern cesspool. The advice for men is simple but harsh. Don't date emotional debt. Don't pay for damage you didn't cause. Don't be someone's rehabilitation center. If she can't handle her own trauma, she can't handle a relationship. If she expects you to fix her, she's not ready for you. If her past is your problem, make it her past by walking away. Women are telling on themselves at unprecedented rates. They're literally posting their red flags as content. I'm crazy but fun. If you can't handle me at my worst, I need a man who can deal with my trauma. They're warning you. Believe them. When someone tells you they're damaged goods, don't try to fix them. Just leave. The healing journey scam is everywhere. These women talk about doing the work while doing nothing but posting quotes on Instagram. They think therapy once a month while continuing toxic behaviors is growth. They confuse talking about problems with solving them. They're not healing, they're just becoming more articulate about their damage. The future is bleak for these women. They're aging out of the sexual marketplace with massive emotional debt nobody wants to pay. They're bitter, damaged, unable to pay a bond, and demanding premium treatment for subpar goods. The wall doesn't care about their trauma. Time doesn't care about their healing journey. Biology doesn't care about their boundaries. Men are waking up to this en masse. The red pill movement, for all its flaws, taught men to recognize emotional debt, to see the signs, to avoid the trap. Every man who learns about body counts, alpha widows, and emotional damage is one less man willing to pay for someone else's mistakes. The cleanup crew is going on strike. The projection is incredible. These women accuse men of being emotionally unavailable while being emotional vampires. They claim men are commitment phobic while being unable to commit themselves. They say men are damaged while carrying more baggage than an airport. It's always projection, always deflection, never reflection. Social media gave them the rope to hang themselves with. Every post about their standards, their demands, their trauma, their journey. It's all evidence. Men can see exactly what they're getting into. No more hiding behind feminine mystique. No more pretending to be something they're not. The truth is out there in their own words. The double standards are staggering. A man with emotional baggage needs to handle it himself. A woman with emotional baggage needs a man to handle it for her. A man's past matters. A woman's past is just the past. A man should bring value. A woman's presence is the value. They want traditional benefits with modern freedom, and they're shocked when men refuse to play. You know what's really happening? Women are realizing that actions have consequences, that spending a decade on the carousel leaves marks, that treating relationships as transactional makes them transactional, that emotional debt accumulates interest. And now the bill is due, but nobody wants to pay it. The smart ones are panicking. They see the wall approaching, feel their options shrinking, sense their power fading. The dumb ones double down, raise their standards, increase their demands. Both end up in the same place, alone with their cats, wondering where all the good men went. The good men are with women who didn't rack up emotional debt. This is the real female nature they can't hide anymore. They want the benefits of both strategies. The fun of the carousel and the security of commitment. The excitement of bad boys and the stability of good men. The freedom of feminism and the provision of traditionalism. They want it all, deserve none of it, and are angry at men for noticing. The trauma bonding attempts are pathetic. They try to make you feel responsible for their emotional state. If you don't text back, they spiral. If you set boundaries, they break down. If you won't fix them, you're abandoning them. They weaponize their damage to control you. It's emotional terrorism, and they think it's love. Men need to understand this. You're not a rehabilitation center for damaged women. You're not responsible for fixing someone else's poor choices. You don't owe anyone emotional labor for trauma you didn't cause. Your job is to find a partner, not adopt a project. If she comes with emotional debt, she's not ready for a relationship. The consequences are generational. These emotionally damaged women are raising the next generation, teaching their daughters that accountability is optional, teaching their sons that male responsibility is mandatory, perpetuating cycles of dysfunction while posting about breaking generational trauma. They're not breaking anything, they're just repackaging it. But here's the white pill. Men have options. You can refuse to date emotional debt. You can demand better. You can walk away from damaged goods. You don't have to accept someone's baggage as your burden. You don't have to pay for crimes you didn't commit. You can choose peace over problems. The standards need to flip. Instead of women having lists of demands, men need lists of disqualifiers. High body count? Disqualified. Can't stop talking about exes? Disqualified. Expects you to fix her? Disqualified. Still seeking validation online? Disqualified. Has emotional debt? Disqualified. Be ruthless? because they would be if the roles were reversed. Women reveal their nature through their complaints. When they complain about men not stepping up, they're revealing they need someone to save them. When they complain about emotional unavailability, they're revealing they're emotional vampires. When they complain about commitment issues, they're revealing they're desperate. Listen to what they complain about. It tells you everything. The social media confession booth keeps providing evidence. Women posting about their toxic traits, their crazy side, their emotional damage like it's cute. It's not cute. It's a warning label. When someone tells you they're poison, don't drink them. When someone shows you their damage, don't try to fix them. When someone reveals their nature, believe them. Here's what nobody talks about: the misaligned expectations between what women think they deserve and what they actually offer. They spent their 20s giving their best physical years to men who wouldn't commit, accumulating emotional damage with each failed situationship. Now in their 30s, with decreased fertility, increased baggage, and hardened hearts, they expect an even better man than the ones who rejected them. The cognitive dissonance is staggering. The self-esteem destruction from validation seeking is profound. These women built their entire identity on male attention. Instagram likes were their currency, DMs were their validation, body counts were their scoreboard. But external validation is a drug that requires higher doses over time. Now they need constant reassurance just to feel normal. They're not looking for partners, they're looking for permanent validation dispensers. The potentially abusive dynamics this creates are terrifying. Women with unresolved emotional debt don't just bring baggage, they bring patterns of manipulation, control, and emotional volatility. They've learned to use tears as weapons, sex as currency, and victimhood as strategy. They'll gaslight you into thinking their emotional instability is your fault. They'll make you responsible for their happiness while taking no responsibility for yours. I've seen men destroyed by these dynamics. Good men who thought they could love someone into wellness. Men who sacrifice their peace, their friendness, their sanity, trying to fill an emotional black hole that can never be filled. These women don't need boyfriends, they need therapists. But therapy requires accountability, and that's the one thing they refuse to accept. The nuance here is important. Not all women are like this. There are women who've done genuine work on themselves, who've taken accountability for their past, who enter relationships as whole people rather than broken projects. But they're increasingly rare. The culture celebrates dysfunction, rewards victimhood, and punishes accountability. The incentives are backwards. The future belongs to men who refuse to accept emotional debt, who demand partners, not projects, who seek builders, not burdens. The cleanup crew era is ending. The age of male standards is beginning. Women can no longer hide their true nature, and men can no longer pretend not to see it. This isn't about hating women, it's about recognizing reality. Many women are carrying massive emotional debt from poor choices. They expect men to pay for this debt. Men are increasingly refusing. This creates a crisis for women who planned on someone else fixing their problems. The solution is simple. Handle your own emotional debt or stay single. The masks are off, the truth is revealed, and the game is exposed. Women accidentally showed us exactly who they are and what they expect. They revealed their emotional debt, their entitlement, their inability to take accountability. They can no longer hide their true nature because they broadcast it daily for likes and validation. So what do you do with this information? First, recognize emotional debt when you see it. Second, refuse to pay for damage you didn't cause. Third, demand accountability and responsibility from any potential partner. Fourth, walk away from anyone who expects you to fix them. Your life is too short to spend it paying off someone else's emotional credit cards. The wall remains undefeated. Time keeps ticking. Biology doesn't care about feelings, and men are waking up. Women can no longer hide their true nature, and that's the best thing that could have happened. Because now we can see exactly what we're dealing with and make informed decisions. Knowledge is power, and they gave us all the knowledge we need. To the men reading this, you deserve better than someone's emotional debt. You deserve a partner who handled their own issues. You deserve someone who adds value, not problems. Don't settle for damaged goods just because they're available. Wait for quality or enjoy solitude. Both are better than paying for someone else's mistakes. To the women reading this who got triggered, your anger proves the point. If this didn't apply to you, you wouldn't be mad. The fact that you're upset means you recognize yourself in these words. Instead of getting angry at men for noticing, maybe handle your emotional debt. Maybe take accountability. Maybe become someone worth committing to. The game has changed. The information asymmetry is gone. Women revealed their hand, and it's full of emotional debt and entitlement. Men can now make informed decisions based on revealed behavior rather than pretty lies. The sexual marketplace is correcting, and those with the most emotional debt will be left holding the bag. This is what women never wanted you to know. Their true nature is transactional, their emotional debt is massive, and their accountability is non-existent. But they told on themselves. They revealed it all for social media validation, and now that men can see it clearly, the entire dating market is shifting. The cleanup crew is closed. The rehabilitation center is shut down. Deal with your own emotional debt or deal with being alone. The choice is yours, but the consequences are theirs. Women can no longer hide their true nature, and men can no longer unsee what's been revealed. The truth is out, the game is exposed, and the future belongs to those who refuse to pay for damage they didn't cause.